the company decides to replace the aging 916 with a brand new motorcycle called the 999. The radical new shape and looks of the bike failed to win over the Ducati faithful.
The 999 had to follow the 916 drive model, and that's a tough act. That's like walking on the stage after Elvis Presley's just played. You know, what are you going to do to impress anybody? In pictures, it didn't come across, and people started to pan it because of pictures.
With mounting criticism of the 999's looks and sales off nearly 20%, Ducati is forced to offer discounts and rebates to move motorcycles off showroom floors. But the 999 is successful on the track, where it continues to build on Ducati's dual personality of using a production-based bike sold to the public to go racing. The 999 wins 3 World Superbike Championships. In 2006, the bike is virtually unbeatable. With Troy Bayliss, an Australian rider, on board, the 999 wins 12 races, and the Bayliss name will forever be part of Ducati's racing heritage.
Troy Bayliss, having Troy with us, I think it's kind of a milestone in our sports history.
Troy Bayliss becomes the successor to Carl Fogarty in the long line of great Ducati riders. He wins World Superbike races on 3 different generations of Ducati Superbikes, starting with the 916, then with the 999, and now with a brand new Superbike called the 1098. Built to win on the track and to sell in the showroom, the 1098 is a faster, lighter superbike that connects the past to the present and harkens back to the heady days of the iconic 916.
The concept of the bike is incredibly easy in a way, because we had in our catalog back 6 years ago the best bikes ever of the 90s. That was 916. Everyone in the planet loved this bike. And so it was incredibly easy to decide how the new bike should have taken form. So we just revamped everything, putting everything together in a completely new package, which keeps the same DNA, is the same basic gene, but in a completely new form.
The first production run of the 1098 sells out even before the first bike ships, thanks to its unique blend of the past and the present.
From the 916 to the 999 to the 1098 GRR, a number of features that they are shared, and so you can immediately tell this bike is a Ducati, you know.
While you can immediately tell that the 1098 is a Ducati, from the very beginning, it was built to be the best production sport bike ever made.
I decided that we had to have as first priority to revamp our best sports bike. This bike, the 1098, or the sports bike for Ducati, is the flagship. Everything else followed. And so I put my energy, my full energy, in designing the concept of the bike.
Like all Ducatis, the 1098 is born to ride the magnificent roads of northern Italy. Roads that have been the inspiration for every Ducati motorcycle ever built. And this is where each and every Ducati has been crafted and created, the Ducati factory in Bologna.
This factory's been here about 60 years, 70 years. Most of the man hours within this facility are on the engine itself.
Ducati is world famous for a unique two-cylinder engine design that's built in two basic variations. One is an air-cooled engine, the other a more powerful version that's liquid-cooled. Either way, all Ducati engines start out as a collection of seemingly random parts, carefully sorted and organized in an area of the factory they call the supermarket.
Depending on the type of motorcycle we're going to build, in this case, it's an S4RS for the European market, we collect all the bits for that particular motor, and then they go to the production line, and this is combined with crankcases and crankshafts to build up an engine.
Ducati's air-cooled engine is a lot like the classic Chevy 350 V8. It's been around since 1972.
Over the last 30 years, it's progressed from something under 50 horsepower up to almost 100 horsepower right now.
Ducati's liquid-cooled engines are more powerful. Constantly refined over the past 20 years, in its newest configuration, the engine pumps out an amazing 160 horsepower. Building a Ducati engine is more hand assembly than automated mass production. In a factory with about 1,000 full-time employees, less than 10 people will actually put together any one engine.
Now the completed engine comes over to what's called cold testing. Cold testing is where we spin the engine up, pressurize the oil system. A lot can be told from cold testing because as you spin an engine, in its essence, it becomes an air compressor in a way. And we can tell about compression, efficiency of the cylinders during this testing.
Cold testing is a way to run the engine for the first time, but do it without fuel or even turning on the ignition. Traditionally, a motorcycle is born when the finished engine is mounted to a frame. In Ducati's case, that frame is as famous as the engine. They call it a trellis frame, and it's made from cut and mitered tubing that's welded together. It looks simple, but none of those tubes are placed there at random. The trademark trellis frame is the result of years of trial and error and is a key component of the new Ducati 1098 Superbike.
Right here's the beginning of the final production line of the 1098. Today they're building 1098S versions, very trick version of our new Superbike. And the front end sub-assembly is being mounted to the motorcycle. That sub-assembly includes the handlebars, the clutch pump, the front brake pump, the hoses, the calipers, are all mounted on the sub-assembly already. The more complex the bike becomes, the more sub-assemblies there are. The more sense it makes for us to build up the tail section of a bike with the components that hang on it in another department. Now it goes on to the automated production line where the bike is carried along. This is where we start to put the wheels on the motorcycle and some of the other body components.
The new 1098 is the best performing Ducati production superbike ever. One key to its performance is shaving off weight during the construction process. At 360 pounds, the 1098 weighs 40 pounds less than the model it replaces. In the world of high-performance motorcycles, that kind of weight loss is huge.
When you think about sport bike, weight is crucial. And so everything we did was fully dedicated for developing the bike that was the lightest as possible.
As long as I've been around motorcycles, it still amazes me whenever I pick up one of these how amazingly light this assembly is. I'm not a particularly strong guy, and I think you can sense the lightness of this wheel, and it's one of the ways we get performance out of the motorcycles, lightweight wheels and great tires on the motorcycle. Today you see 1098S models being built on this production line. It's quite possible that on the same production line, a single cylinder from the 1950s could have been built on this same line. So there's a lot of tradition in this building and in this area, and you can kind of feel it in the factory.